Penetration is not required, injury is not required, even attempt is more than sufficient, not only vaginal but any private part where she feels her modesty is deprived of, and the offender has done with the intention to do the sexual assault.
Assault with some of the other object or a stick or some shoes. Such kind of assaults are happening on the doctors to the tune of 20%. Slapping, pushing or shoving to 40%. Then threatening, verbal abusing, humiliation.
कि भारतीय संस्कृति में महिलाओं को सुसंस्कृत बनाया जाता है, लेकिन लड़कों को कोई संस्कार नहीं दे रहे हैं और उनका पुरुषों के मन में ये बैठ गया है कि ये स्त्री है, उपभोग के लिए है.
What is rape culture? Rape culture is not about rape itself. It is, there is a pyramid, and at the apex of that is rape.
We call it that Vikrut Manasikta.
Yes,
You know,
distorted.
distorted,
mentality.
this was the character, the impact of a social media.
45% the respondents they said कि we do not have a duty room while we are on duty. 45%. And what about remaining doctors? They said कि there was a duty room, but then it was very overcrowded.
एक 75 years old lady के ऊपर 42 years वो लड़का था, उसने बलात्कार किया था.
The disrobing of Draupadi is what created the war, and where are we sitting today? The problem is here. The problem is not when the rape happens. The problem is when was the rapist created?
We have gone from Nirbhaya to Abhaya in a span of 12 years, and clearly nothing has really changed in India where women's safety is concerned. The question is, have we just gotten worse with time where such heinous acts are committed by these monsters who show no remorse, no fear of the law, and no fear of the police? Why are we still telling girls how to dress, and why are we not telling boys to respect women and not to rape? What is going so drastically wrong with our society? To discuss these issues and look at possible solutions, we have on this special episode of Buzz by the Bay a panel of strong, accomplished women with us. We have Mrs. Nirmala Samant, former mayor of Mumbai, and currently the spokesperson, the Maharashtra spokesperson for the NCP, Sharad Pawar. She was a member of the NCW, or National Commission for Women, and former chairperson of the Maharashtra State Women's Commission. We have Dr. Mangala Gomare, retired executive health officer of the BMC. She has led the health department for the implementation of various health programs and worked in the BMC for more than 31 years, and was chairman of the POSH committee in BMC for 3 years. We have with us ACP Jyoti Desai, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Armed Force Tarde Unit of the Mumbai Police. And we have a young, bright lawyer, Divya Alexander, Associate of DM Harish and Company, a leading law firm. Welcome to the show. Welcome on Buzz by the Bay, ladies. And thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us for this very, very relevant, very important discussion. Actually, it's a discussion that one should be having all the time. But now, because of this heinous, horrible rape in Kolkata, you know, the whole atmosphere in the country is one of anger and disillusionment. You know, एक नाराज़गी का माहौल फैल गया है देश में. So it is very important to again bring up this discussion. I'd like to start with Mrs. Nirmala Samant. You know, you were a member of the NCW, the National Commission for Women, during the time of the horrible Nirbhaya rape, which was 12 years ago. You were part of the NCW when the Justice Verma Committee for Reforms was submitted. Okay, and this was a response to the urgent need for legal reforms, and this committee redefined rape, and it even suggested many police and judicial reforms. First, if you can tell us what your role with the NCW was, and do you think in these 12 years much has changed on the ground?
First of all, National Commission for Women is a quasi-judicial forum which is set up as per the provisions of Indian Constitution, and NCW has its own constitution, and the scope of work is given. It doesn't have judicial power, but it has a recommendatory power, and its main duty There are so many things NCW is supposed to do, but basically it's supposed to work for giving justice to women, upholding dignity and respect to women, and taking note, suo moto, note of any offense which is committed anywhere in India. This particular, when you are talking about, you all are aware what the case Nirbhaya is known for, and Nirbhaya was such a heinous offense which shook the entire nation. Everybody thought that Nirbhaya is a part of a family, and because of that, the dastardly crime happened. It galvanized the entire country and brought into action. So many activists came on road, and that forced the government to change the laws, bring amendments, and bring new Criminal Amendment Act. And therefore, the Justice Verma committee was set up, 3 members judges. Justice Verma was a Supreme Court judge. He was also known for giving the very famous Vishakha. He is known for Vishakha guidelines, and then ultimately sexual harassment prevention became law. He is a very eminent judge, and we had an opportunity to submit our report. The most important aspect, what happened, why committee was set up, and what committee ultimately recommended, and whatever is happening, they are because of the Justice Verma committee suggestions, which are taken very seriously by Government of India, and they brought the provisions in Indian Penal Code, Indian Criminal Procedure Code, and Indian Evidence Act, and all that. The 2-3 important aspects I'll tell you. First of all, Justice Verma committee recommended 3 important things. One is quicker justice.
Yes.
And therefore, what you are seeing about the fast track court, Jalad Gati Nyayalaya, that is one of the suggestions, that it should be, trial should be speedily done, and the conviction rate also should, because if you delay the trial, the conviction rate goes down. The memory, this one, the
Yes.
witnesses go here and there, witnesses become hostile, tampering, and all that happens. So therefore, quicker justice was one of the recommendation outcome. And second is the enhancement in the punishment. And the third one is, as you rightly said, that the police reforms. That the enhancement of the punishment, I can say that rape, which was punishable for 7 years and 10 years, they categorize the heinousness of the offences. Accordingly, the crimes were, the punishments were enhanced. Right up to, it is even included in Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, even
Yes.
death sentences in the gang rape.
Yeah.
And there are some other definitions are also widened.
Yeah.
And POCSO also was made more stringent, because immediately thereafter in 2012 POCSO happened.
Yes.
And 2 offenders in Nirbhaya case, where the offenders were minor.
Yeah.
Therefore, there was a lot of agitation to also bring amendments in POCSO Act. Now coming back to the this one, there were several other criminal amendments took place for depriving of the modesty of a woman. Many times it doesn't fall under the ambit of rape, because rape also you require a penetration.
Yes.
Sometimes if there is no penetration, but attempt is also there, and it is what Justice Verma said, that it is not only physical or bodily aggression, it is a mindset.
Yes.
The mindset of the person is, this is what affects the entire life of a victim. She cannot forget that. So it is against her dignity and status. Therefore, penetration is not required, injury is not required, even attempt is more than sufficient, not only vaginal but any private part.
Yes.
Where she feels her modesty is deprived of, and the offender has done with the intention to do the sexual assault or offense, is also, that definition is widened. And any object, not necessarily the male object has to be there, any object which is inserted, which is in a private part. And thirdly, which will also be also you can ask, and she will also be able to answer,
Yeah.
is zero FIR. They
Zero
said that any victim from any part of India can just send an email, and not necessarily the jurisdiction has to be there. Any victim from any part of India just can contact her nearest police station, and the nearest police station will have this one to give to the local police station. Then they also included verbal as a harassment, then acid attack, the imprisonment was increased, then stalking, and I mean criminal amendments were included to such an extent that I don't think there is anything left in the law for bringing any person for more different kind of offenses. Everything is there, but
Right.
only question is still why it is happening. So in that next episode or next slot, we will answer about that.
Okay, fine. Thank you for explaining. And the Justice Verma reforms were quite comprehensive. Main one being it widened definition of rape, not to only penetration, right? It was much more than that. It's aggression of other types also. Then fast track courts,
yes.
Rape
Yeah.
crisis cells, mandatory CCTV installations in police stations.
Quicker justice.
Quicker justice. But we find that instances are still high because you open the papers, even after this horrible Kolkata Act, you open the papers, there have been in Uttarakhand, there have been more in West Bengal, there have been, I read today, in Assam. I mean, the list goes on. Maharashtra, we had Badlapur. So, next question is for ACP Madam Jyoti Desai. देश में गुस्सा और नाराज़गी का माहौल है और लोग पुलिस से भी नाराज़ है, कोलकाता पुलिस से बोल रहे हैं कि सबूतों से छेड़छाड़ हुई थी, जांच में थोड़ी गड़बड़ी हुई थी. तो आपको क्या लगता है कि भारत में बलात्कार की घटनाएं बढ़ रही है या यह हमेशा से ऐसे ही रहा है?
भारत में बलात्कार की घटनाएं बढ़ रही है,
बढ़ रही है.
लेकिन हम देख सकते हैं कि पहले का जो माहौल था वहाँ पर लेडी आगे आके कंप्लेंट नहीं दे रही थी, और अभी जो लड़कियां हैं या तो उनके पेरेंट्स हैं वो पुलिस के ऊपर भी भरोसा कर रहे हैं और पुलिस स्टेशन में आकर कंप्लेंट्स कर रहे हैं.
ओके.
रेशो देखेंगे तो वो टाइम पे भी बलात्कार महिलाओं पे होते ही थे, लेकिन कोई आगे नहीं आता था. उसमें एक माइंडसेट था कि मेरी लड़की की बदनामी हो जाएगी, इसके लिए कोई नहीं आता था. लेकिन अभी पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट से भी कानून जो बनाए गए हैं तो पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट उसको फॉलो कर रही है कि जो विक्टिम है उसका जो नाम है उसको हम डिस्क्लोज नहीं करते हैं, क्योंकि भारतीय संस्कृति में हम लोग अगर देखते हैं कि ये माइंडसेट क्यों है, तो इसमें लड़की को ही बदनामी झेलनी पड़ती है, पुरुष को कोई भी नहीं बोलता इसने बलात्कार क्यों किया है. ये जो माइंडसेट है उसको बदलना चाहिए. पुलिस के ऊपर लोग नाराज है, लेकिन मैं बोलती हूँ जहाँ तक मैंने 30 साल में यहाँ नौकरी कर रही हूँ, लेकिन पुलिस जो है अगर बलात्कार की घटना हो या कोई मोलेस्टेशन की घटना हो, हमारे लिए तो यही कहा गया है कि जो भी हमारे सामने कंप्लेंट देने के लिए आता है उसको इमीडिएट हम लोग रजिस्टर करते हैं और फ्रैक्शन ऑफ सेकंड हमारा इन्वेस्टिगेशन स्टार्ट हो जाता है. कोलकाता की जो घटना है उसके बारे में अभी इतना जल्दी मैं कोई बात नहीं करना चाहती हूँ, क्योंकि उनका इन्वेस्टिगेशन जो है वो चल रहा है.
आपने एफआईआर के बारे में कहा है कि तुरंत दर्ज करते हैं एफआईआर, पुलिस में ज़्यादा विश्वास है अभी.
यस, हमारे पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट से हम लोगों ने एक निर्भया स्क्वाड निर्माण किया हुआ है. यहाँ वहाँ पर एक लेडी ऑफिसर, उसके साथ एक लेडी कांस्टेबल और मेल कांस्टेबल, उनको अपॉइंट किया जाता है और हर गली में हमारा वो जो व्हीकल है वो जाता है. वहाँ कोई गार्डन में बैठी हुए सीनियर सिटीज़न है या कोई लड़कियाँ है, कॉलेज स्टूडेंट्स है, उनको हम लोग अवेयरनेस दे रहे हैं. हमारी जो हेल्पलाइन है 100 तो है ही, 103 है महिलाओं के लिए. साइबर में भी अभी सेक्सटॉर्शन हो रहा है तो उसके लिए भी 1930 ये जो हमारी लाइन है उसको हम लोग सब लोगों को बता रहे हैं, और हर एक पुलिस स्टेशन में एक व्हीकल उसके लिए डेडिकेटेड है. उनको एक मोबाइल फ़ोन दिया हुआ है, 24 आवर्स वो चालू रहता है. कोई भी अगर उस पर फ़ोन करता है तो इमीडिएट विदिन 7 मिनट्स वी हैव टू रीच देयर. हाँ, विदिन 7 मिनट्स. मुंबई में थोड़ा ट्रैफिक का प्रॉब्लम है, इसके लिए 7 मिनट्स का है, लेकिन हमारी गाड़ी का आज तक का रिकॉर्ड है फास्टेस्ट विदिन 3 मिनट्स हम लोग वहाँ पर पहुँचे हुए हैं. जो एल्टीमार्क पुलिस स्टेशन में लास्ट ईयर जो एसिड अटैक हुआ था उसमें हमारा जो निर्भया का जो व्हीकल है 4 मिनट में वहाँ पर गया था, और वो विक्टिम को जो है वो एसिड उसने फेंक दिया था, लेकिन वो हेल्प मांग रही थी. तभी हमारे कांस्टेबल ने जाके आरोपी को उधर से पकड़ के, उसके हाथ में बॉटल था ही एसिड का, वैसे ही पकड़ लिया. इमीडिएटली हम लोग उसको हॉस्पिटल लेके गए. दुर्भाग्यवश वो जी नहीं सकी, लेकिन वो केस अगर हम लोग देखते हैं उनका लिव इन रिलेशनशिप था. वो लेडी 50 इयर्स ओल्ड थी और उसका जो हस्बैंड है वो 57 कुछ तो था. वो एज में ये एसिड अटैक हो गया कि उसका सेकंड मैरिज था और उसको वो बोल रहा था ये काम मत करो वो काम मत करो, और एक छोटे से झगड़े की वजह से इमीडिएटली वो लेके आया एसिड और उसको फेंक दिया उसने। लेकिन मुंबई पुलिस का जो एक्शन है उसमें अभी तक उसको बेल नहीं हुआ है, आरोपी को। इतना स्ट्रांग इन्वेस्टिगेशन हम लोगों ने उसमें किया है कि उसको मदद तो मिल ही गई, लेकिन उसके बाद के जो पेपर्स बनते हैं, उसका जो एविडेंस इकट्ठा होता है, तो इमीडिएटली विद इन 8 आवर्स हम लोगों ने मोस्ट ऑफ इन्वेस्टिगेशन जो है कंप्लीट किया हुआ था। और मैं गर्व के साथ कहती हूँ कि अभी तक वो जेल में ही है और मुझे गारंटी है कि उसमें उसको पनिशमेंट आ सकती है। इतना एविडेंस हमारे पुलिस स्टेशन में हम लोगों ने कलेक्ट किया हुआ है।
नो दैट्स वेरी गुड कि वो अब तक जेल में है और उसको बेल जमानत नहीं मिली है। लेकिन ये द थिंग वी हैव टू लुक एट इज़ द माइंडसेट। कानून सख्त है, लेकिन ये इन लोगों को कानून का डर नहीं है, पुलिस का डर नहीं है शायद, कि ये घटनाएं रोज़ हो रही है। सो वी हैव टू रियली गेट डाउन टू द माइंडसेट। बट जो निर्भया स्क्वाड इज़ इन एवरी पुलिस स्टेशन, हर पुलिस थाने में है निर्भया स्क्वाड। ओके और आप बता सकते हैं एसओपी क्या है अगर एक ऐसे बलात्कार या की घटना होती है, तो एसओपी क्या है पीड़ित के लिए, विक्टिम के लिए? हाउ शुड शी कम एंड अप्रोच यू नो एंड दिस होल थिंग अबाउट 0 FIR का सहारा?
जिस महिला के साथ बलात्कार के भी हर एक प्रकार अलग अलग है। इसमें ऐसा है कि कोई उसको बलात्कार करके मार देता है या तो किधर फेंक देता है। दूसरा है कि बलात्कार करके उसको छोड़ दिया जाता है। हम लोग देखते हैं कि कोई बुआबाजी कर रहा है, वो भी किसी को बुलाता है, उसको रेप करता है, लेकिन उसमें वो खुद गई है उसके पास और उसकी माँ ने भेजा होता है या तो किसी ने भेजा होता है, तो वो 4-5 दिन तक उसको नहीं समझता है अभी मैं कैसे पुलिस स्टेशन में जाऊँ, ये टाइप का होता है। वर्मा कमीशन के बाद जो अमेंडमेंट आया है, मैं बोलती हूँ कि वो बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट है, क्योंकि पहले आईपीसी में था 354। उसमें अगर कोई एक आदमी लड़की को हाथ लगाता है, हाथ पकड़ा, कोई उसको छाती को दबाता है, तो 354 है। लेकिन वर्मा कमीशन के बाद उसमें जो अमेंडमेंट आया है, उसमें क्या है 354 में अगर वो उसको टच करता है या उसके साथ कोई मोलेस्ट करता है, वो 354 है। 354 ABCD अगर हम लोग देखते हैं कि जो अभी चल के 74, 75, 76 BNS में हुआ है, तो उसमें ऐसा है कि कोई अगर गन पॉइंट पे उसको बोल रहा है तुम्हारा कपड़ा तुम ही उतारो, विवस्त्र हो जाओ, तो वो हो रही है, तो उसके लिए अलग पनिशमेंट दिया हुआ है। अगर किसी को लगता है कोई लेडी नहाने गई है, मैं उसको देख रहा हूँ कैसे चोरी छुप के, उसके लिए अलग प्रावधान किया हुआ है। या तो कोई उसको सेक्सुअल रिमार्क करता है लेकिन उसके मन में लैंगिक भाव है और वो बोल रहे तुम बहुत ही सेक्सी लग रही हो और मुझे लगता है कि तुम्हारे साथ प्रेम संबंध करने हैं, तो उसके लिए एक अलग से। तो कानून में जो बदलाव आए हैं वर्मा कमेटी के बाद, तो उसको हम लोग जब हमारे सामने अगर कोई आती है लेडी, तो उसको हम लोग उसी तरह से लिख के उसका FIR दर्ज करके हम लोग उसको ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा सज़ा दे सकते हैं।
वो बहुत अच्छी बात है, ये प्रोग्रेस है एंड दिस इज़ वेरी गुड। लेकिन ये बदलापुर का केस देखो जहाँ पे माइनर को सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट हुआ था, तो FIR दर्ज करने में 12 घंटे की देरी हुई। तो आई मीन देयर आर स्टिल इंस्टेंसेस लाइक दैट हैपनिंग, डिलेज हो रही है।
वो केस के बारे में जो मैंने पढ़ा है या सुना है उसको मैं बता सकती हूँ। उसमें ऐसा है कि वो जो लड़की है छोटी है और 4 साल की लड़की है। जिस दिन उसके ऊपर बलात्कार हुआ है उस दिन उसको कुछ मालूम नहीं है उसके बारे में, और तीसरे दिन उसने अपने मम्मी को बोला है कि मुझे कुछ फीलिंग हो रहा है अलग सा, और मम्मी को यानी उसके दादा को बोला है, दादा ने फिर मम्मी को बोला ऐसा क्यों बोल रही है वो, और उसके बाद वो पुलिस स्टेशन आए हैं। बिफोर दैट वो गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल नहीं गए, प्राइवेट में उन्होंने कुछ जाके मेडिसिन लिए हैं, और फिर पुलिस के पास आने के लिए मुझे लगता है उनको देर हो गई है। खास करके हम लोगों को ये इंस्ट्रक्शंस है कि कोई भी महिला का केस जो है इमीडिएटली ले लो। उसके लिए जुरिस्डिक्शन, अभी जो BNS जो एक्ट है उसमें तो 0 FIR है कि कोई भी किसी भी जगह से वो पुलिस को ईमेल भी कर सकती है या तो पुलिस स्टेशन में आएंगे तो वो जुरिस्डिक्शन नहीं देखेगा, इमीडिएटली दर्ज करेगा और उसको दूसरे पुलिस स्टेशन में विक्टिम के साथ में हमारा टीम जाएगा और उनको हैंड ओवर करके फिर इन्वेस्टिगेशन ट्रांसफ़र होता है।
Dr. Mangala Gomare, I would like to come to you next because you know you have worked with the BMC for more than 31 years. You have led many, you've led many campaigns, public health campaigns. You have also been the chairman of the POSH committee. POSH is the Prevention of Sexual Harassment at the Workplace, which is very important. I want to come to that later. But first, you are of course now a retired executive health officer. But a recent study shows, and because this Kolkata incident took place in a hospital, a government hospital, it's very, very important to get your input. A recent study shows that 1 out of 3 doctors feels unsafe during night shift, mostly women doctors. I did speak to some other BMC health officers, before doing this interview. Some of them have said that, we are very afraid of night shift. Our mothers are very afraid. Not only in urban centers, but in peripheral areas, especially rural centers, where it's more remote, there's less security. Some even said that the National Medical Commission should circulate new guidelines regarding female interns not to be given night duty and not to be compelled to stay at rural health centers. What is your take on that?
First of all, why we have gathered here today to discuss, because some kind of a rarest of rare incidences happened in Calcutta, and that too with our colleague, a doctor who was doing some post graduation there in that institute, and this kind of heinous act has happened there in the sacrosanct of the education institute. And even routinely also what we are seeing in the newspaper, through social media, is that daily at around, as per the national registry, more than 90 cases of rape are being registered on daily basis. Plus National Women Commission has reported that there is increase in gender based violence cases by 15% compared to 22 in 23. This is like a tip of iceberg, I'll say. We discuss about such kind of things. अभी अब हम लोग बात कर रहे थे मैडम के साथ कि आजकल रिपोर्टिंग थोड़ा सा बढ़ गया है, तो मगर वो जो पानी के अंदर जो हिमनग है अपना, वो बहुत बड़ा है. अभी भी बहुत सारे केसेस रिपोर्ट होना बाकी है. अभी when we talk about even healthcare providers, especially women, there are certain issues like inadequate infrastructure is there. Resources are not there, plus very poor working conditions when we talk about government, semi-government, BMC, whatever. I mean, where the free services are being provided to the patients, there is always a overcrowding, mismanagement of crowd, then lot of things are there, security measures are challenged. So many issues are there, plus there is a harassment of doctors and paramedics always at the such kind of volatile situation.
Yeah.
Always they are in a volatile situation. There is always potential that there will be a threat कि कभी भी एक violence हो सकता है यहाँ पर. Again, women doctors, they suffer more because there is no safe environment as far as gender based violence is concerned. So this is adding more into whatever all challenges are there. So this is very important to know. But you were saying ki some doctors, they should not be given the night duties, some should not be given appointment posting in the rural. But I don't know whether this kind of suggestion is a feasible suggestion, or even we can discuss about this. Because whenever we talk about the healthcare providers and their population, more than 60% population is of female doctors. Nowadays you must be seeing कि medical admission जब भी होता है तो more than 60-70% girls are there who are taking admission into the medical MBBS courses and all that. And when they are equally intelligent, when they are equally doing the things, then why such kind of suggestion should come up? On the contrary, I will say कि it is the duty of the government or the whatever local administration to provide a safe environment where all women doctors, paramedical staff or nurses, they can work fearlessly. I just would like to give some interesting studies which are done by NGO Sehat, Center for that Health and Allied Actions, plus KM Hospital, one of the most important hospital in Mumbai, plus MARD. They have done some studies, and Into that, what they found, the fact sheet, if you go through that, what they have found is that what are the reasons why such kind of things are happening? Because of overcrowding, 44%, death of the patient, as I was telling,
Yes.
some of the reasons or some of the incidences which lead to such kind of violence which may lead to violence. Then dissatisfaction and care, lack of equipments and drugs, long waiting time, plus patient in critical condition leading to stress for patients and relatives. These are some of the very important reasons why such kind of incidences are happening. And what kind of violences are happening after such incidences is assault with some of the other object or a stick or some shoes. Such kind of assaults are happening on the doctors to the tune of 20%, slapping, pushing or shoving to 40%, then threatening, verbal abusing, humiliation, sexually colored remarks, these kind of violences are reported. So this is very important to know that, and even after doing such kind of study, submitting the report to the administration, what we have seen is that only 30% of the doctors, they reach to the police and they file the MLC. Only 1/3 of the doctors who are undergoing such kind of violence and all that, and remaining, what they are saying ki it was of no use to report because anyway that is not going to help them. So this is very important. And another, again I would like to tell you about the IMA Kerala branch, what they have done the study. Into that, they have done that online study, and around 3,000, more than 3,000 doctors they have interviewed. Out of that, around 65% were women who were interviewed, women doctors. So very interesting, what has come out is that 45% the respondents, they said ki we do not have a duty room while we are on duty, 45%. And what about remaining doctors? They said ki there was a duty room, but then it was very overcrowded, no privacy, no locks available to the rooms. So they were compelled to find out some other alternative solution to rest somewhere, to find out the room or a bedroom or a bed, like that. And whatever available duty rooms were there, 1/3 of them, they said ki there were no attached washrooms to the room.
My God.
So, and more than 50% rooms which were available, but they were away from the workplace or emergency room or a duty room. So it is very not good situation for the doctors to work there. If we are not providing environment where they can work fearlessly, then definitely such kind of incidences, and plus women doctors are at more risk. But even all said and done, it is not that women doctors should not be allowed to do night duties, should not be doing the postings at the sub-center level or a periphery level. It is a human right to work as like men. We are equally competent enough
Yes.
to do that.
Absolutely. Justice, you know, quick justice is one thing, but how about preventing?
Yes.
Right? And as you said, that some of your statistics are alarming, and it's so sad that there are no proper facilities. I mean, कुछ सुविधाएं नहीं है. I mean,
नहीं
how
है.
can that be? आप देश के लिए निस्वार्थ सेवा करते हैं और फिर भी सुविधाएं नहीं है, and that is not a good situation.
हम लोग जब भी फ्लाइट में जाते हैं तो एयर होस्टेस अनाउंसेस ना, पहले आपका खुद का सेफ्टी देखिए, पहले यू बी सेफ एंड देन टेक केयर ऑफ अदर्स. ये अभी डॉक्टर्स खुद सेफ नहीं है तो हाउ दे विल टेक केयर ऑफ अदर्स एंड हाउ दे विल सेव द लाइव्स of the others?
Yeah.
This is a very $1 million question.
No, no, absolutely, and that is one thing that has to be tackled. Just very quickly before I move on to Divya, is it being in this BMC hospital? Like BMC is a very rich body, very rich body. So what about the facilities in our very own BMC hospitals for women doctors?
We cannot categorize some BMC hospitals or some government hospitals. We cannot differentiate. These are all providing services free to all the patients.
Right.
And some services in a very subsidized way. So overcrowding is there. Daily lot of thousands of lakhs of patients are coming there and they are taking treatment. and then the patients, like sometimes what happens ki, we have seen ki why there is overcrowding, why so many patients are there in, why it is not happening in private hospital. Private hospital mein it went so smoothly. I mean, visitors are allowed only in the visiting hours, they are given the passes, no more than 2 or more than 3 or like that, whatever is there, there are guidelines and there are rules to be followed, and everybody is following that rule. Why it is possible that in the private hospital and why it is not possible in the BMC or any government hospital? Because of overcrowding, mismanagement of the crowds, lot of infrastructure is not there. So most of the time we see ki lot of patients and their relatives, they have to run from pillar to post to follow. They have to act as a ward boy also, they have to act as a semi nurse also.
So it's a much larger problem.
Yes,
man.
it's not a one point solution.
Yeah. You have to
So-
tackle from the root, really.
Yes.
You know, it's a systemic problem. Divya, you know, you have done research on POCSO, you know, the prevention, the protection of children from sexual offences. And particularly on this issue, if you could talk about this issue of naming the victim, the laws that pertain to that, you're not allowed to name a victim. If you could run us through those laws, a few of the BNS provisions also, and what is your take on that? You know, we can discuss the pros and cons of victim naming.
So thanks, Anushka, for that question. And I'm just going to correct the question a little bit, and we're
Okay.
going to call her a survivor.
Okay.
Because I'd rather that nobody is a victim.
All right.
If she's had to pass away, then she's a martyr for all of us and womankind.
True,
And if she survived it, then she survived more than any of us would have seen in our lifetime. So it's commendable.
You're right.
So there is the IPC has provisions, and so does POCSO about victim naming, and now IPC, because it's been replaced by BNS, also protects this and again calls it victim naming. So, but the thing is that in the BNS it allows for disclosure of the name if the victim herself wants to disclose her name. So there are
Okay.
exceptions. The 3 exceptions are if it's by an order of police in good faith. For example, if they have to find the perpetrator and the name must be disclosed for that reason, then they can disclose it. The second is by the victim, and the third is by the next of kin, if it's an unsound person who
Yeah.
is, you know, been subject to rape. But the way that the courts have seen it is that when this disclosure was supposed to be made to the next of kin by an unsound person, this could have happened only to a social organization that was supposed to receive this information.
Okay.
But that social organization has never been set up.
Oh.
So after Nirbhaya, in a case of Nipun Saxena, the
Okay.
court said that since you have not set up this organization, the government's not done what it needs to do, you have to disclose then to the sessions court, and only with the sessions court's permission can you do a further disclosure. Now the issue with POCSO is that POCSO is far stronger. POCSO says under no circumstances whatsoever till the special court gives its permission, you cannot name at all.
Yeah.
By name it means the likeness, the image, the body shape, the address,
Yeah.
everything is covered. While all of this has been sort of, you know, these rules have come in because of our age-old mentality of, you know, where the others were talking as well, that it's our culture that everyone blames the woman. It's victim shaming that happens,
Yes.
which is the reason why the law was built for that. The law was built to sort of safeguard women against this sort of shaming in the society.
Yeah.
But there is another angle to it, and the other angle to it is what if she can be used as a rallying point?
Yes.
Especially in urban areas. You know, in rural areas it's different, but in urban areas we've seen, for example, even with Nirbhaya, her name is come out, everyone
Yeah.
knows what it
Yeah.
is. And with a lot of other persons as well, like Bilkis Banu, for example. You know, these figures have become such strong rallying points.
Yes.
And the whole nation sort of comes together. There's an outrage about everything because you identify with the person. It's very difficult to identify with someone who you don't know at all. The
Yes.
more you know something, the more you relate to something, the more you identify with something, and then that helps. So there is a pro and a con to it. And the thing is with the BNS, it is by the statement of the victim she can choose to disclose her name, but under POCSO that is not so. And the reason was that because POCSO deals with children, anybody who is under the age of 18, so they
Yeah.
aren't able to make that decision. But the question is, what if the child grows up and then wants to reveal their name?
Right.
Should that be allowed? Should that not be allowed? Now there is no law for that,
No
because
law.
if there is, something that is being governed by POCSO, then POCSO applies. But what if now, let's say the survivor is 21 and she wants to talk about it? She wants to write a book about it.
Yes.
She wants somebody to write her biography.
Uh-huh.
Does she still need to go and take the special court's permission? Should she be allowed to do it now because
Yes, she's
really
21.
she's able
Yeah.
to do so? So that is the question really. So there are still pros and cons. I think it depends on a case by case basis.
Yeah.
It also depends on the class and the society in which this particular event has occurred.
Okay.
And whether you're going to see the society stigmatize the survivor or you're going to see the society rally around the survivor. I think that's a decision that has to be made. It is subjective. There can't be an objective test here. The objective test remains the law that we protect as much as we can, because the law is essentially to protect.
Yes, yes.
So that's my take on it.
Okay, thank you. And but this time the Supreme Court and the Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud did bring this whole issue up, and actually he like chastised the lawyers, you know, for allowing her name to be brought out into the open. So clearly, you know, the view of the Supreme Court is that the name of the martyr, let's call her a martyr because she is a shaheed, a martyr, you know, to give such selfless service to the nation and then to face this kind of horrible end, you know, this is too tragic. As a nation, we get outraged for it a little while and then we go back to our lives, which is normal, that will happen in any country. But something, you know, something stronger has to be done, because clearly there is no, amongst these perpetrators of these crimes, it doesn't seem that there is a fear of the law. Which brings me to this issue of, you know, death penalty. I mean, my view personally is, of course, there should be a death penalty for rape. What do you feel, Madam Nirmala ma'am, what do you feel in your experience? Do you think it's a strong deterrent, the death penalty?
Previously, there was no death penalty for rape, but because of some recent, in BNS also they have recommended death penalty
Yeah.
in an offence where a rape victim is alive. I think Shakti Mill compound, Shalini Phansalkar madam gave death sentence to, because it was a gang rape.
Yeah.
The provision is there, amendments are there, which are very recent,
Yeah.
and death penalty is there. The idea of giving death penalty is because of the public outcry, that people shout and say that फांसी दो, फांसी दो, फांसी
Yeah.
दो. So the voice of the opinion of the people is very important for even judiciary, because law is for people and people are also for law. So if there is a strong opinion that फांसी दो, so accordingly, and lots of heinous offences were happening and rape victims were, you know, raped and gang rapes used to happen. So there should be some deterrence has to be there in the minds of an offender. The question is that, a very valid question, that does death penalty reduces the offence? That we have to see now, because it is recently done. There are two sides of a coin. One is that that yes, deterrent punishment has to be there. The offender should know that the offence which he is going to commit he is going to be given death sentence if it is very heinous and gang rape or something. So the offender will think 10 times कि मैं जिंदा ही नहीं रहूँगा. The conviction is not there so far. The conviction is so less, therefore the offender को लगता है कि I will get out of it. As I said, there are two sides of a coin. That sometimes the offender is so much bent upon doing anything that is not bothered. And sometimes it is very risky that even they kill the the victim also.
Yeah.
So victim life is very, very important. Unfortunately, the crimes are rising in spite of that death sentence is there. That is something very, very worrisome. And there lies the answer to your question, that why it is so happening, that government has done everything. Even death penalty, and police are doing their best
Right.
to see that this one, but still, because we call it that Vikrut Manasikta. Yes, you know, distorted, this was the character, the impact of a social media, the correlation between porns and sex.
Right.
Because they find out that that prey, you know, or that what should I say, predating, that they keep an eye over that soft target. and see to it that they commit a heinous offense. So therefore, we think that socialization, not upbringing of a offender, having seen continuously same thing, doesn't feel any hard-hearted criminals and all that, and not good upbringing. They must have seen happening in their own families,
In their own families.
surrounding, and porn is now easily available.
Right.
Seeing pornography privately has not been punishable, but seeing pornography and circulating it, especially now you are specialized in POXO, the children are used. Now it has
Yeah.
become punishable, pornography. So porn contents, sexual use of women, everything now runs in their mind. That time they are not worried. Ki I will be, this sentence will be given to me, I will be penalized. Nothing happens to that person.
Yeah, no, absolutely, you're right. So death penalty needs to be there, but also what you're saying is the conviction rate needs to be high. Conviction rate is not high enough.
So sorry, I'm interrupting you. I just would like to know, as a healthcare professional, are we any kind of a committees or somebody is reviewing such kind of rates, conviction कितना हो रहा है, या FIR कितने lodge हो रहे हैं, ये कोई
Yeah,
kind of
National
audit,
Crime Bureau
kind
is
of a
there.
thing.
NCB is doing that. And nowadays, according to me, that conviction rate is going very high because the judiciary is just not tolerating it. But only thing is that the crime has to be immediately reported. The victim has to support the police officers. Victim have to support the police officers. Many times the offences take place within family. That time conviction rate goes down.
Right.
Because within the family, malum hai, then whether it is false promise of marriage, some gratification, something like that, the court also sees case by case. It's absolutely said that Gursharan Singh versus state of Punjab or some union government, they are laid down that evidence is actually not required. If there is a delay in investigation, if the rural area police station is far off and all, that should not be any reason to acquit the accused. So acquittal of the accused should not be related with lack of medical evidence.
Okay.
Yeah, because there is a delay, medical evidence goes off, but then the testimony of a victim is taken as a substantial evidence. Her own only single testimony not supported by anybody, also convictions are there.
Okay.
Yes.
So that so the
Yes,
convictions
and police
are easier.
officers also very particular in taking proper FIR.
ओके टेक अ प्रॉपर एफआईआर एसीपी मैडम, क्या आपने कई बलात्कार मामले की जांच की है आपके करियर में?
बहुत सारी।
बहुत सारे। पर आपका राय क्या है कि ये डेथ पेनल्टी एक ऐसे निवारक है, एक डिटेरेंट है, लोग डरते हैं, पुलिस से डरते हैं, ये क्यों हो रहा है? ये विकृत मानसिकता क्यों हो रहा है ये आदमियों में? मीन वाई, मीन आपके अनुभव में, व्हाट कैन यू टेल अस फ्रॉम योर एक्सपीरियंस, यू नो?
मेरा तो ये मत है कि हम लोग देखते हैं कि भारतीय संस्कृति में महिलाओं को सुसंस्कृत बनाया जाता है, लेकिन लड़कों को कोई संस्कार नहीं दे रहे हैं। जब तक ये उनका माइंडसेट नहीं बदलेगा, क्योंकि हमारे देश में अभी भी पुरुष प्रधानता है।
हाँ।
और उनका पुरुषों के मन में ये बैठ गया है कि ये स्त्री है, उपभोग के लिए है, और ये माइंडसेट जब तक बदलेंगे नहीं तब तक ये रुकने वाला नहीं है। क्योंकि हम लोग महिलाओं को ही बोलते हैं ऐसा करो वैसा करो। और दूसरा ये भी मैं कहना चाहती हूँ कि महिला के ऊपर अगर कोई अत्याचार हो गए हैं तो महिला ने उसका स्टेटमेंट लेना चाहिए, यहाँ तक ठीक है। पुरुष अधिकारियों ने भी लेना चाहिए, उसका इन्वेस्टिगेशन करना चाहिए, करते हैं। हाँ। लेकिन कुछ भी रहेगा, महिला का हो गया, महिला को बुलाओ, महिला को ट्रेनिंग दे दो, वर्कशॉप दे दो, क्यों? हाँ। पुरुषों को देना चाहिए। मुझे लगता है ये वर्कशॉप जो होनी चाहिए, जेंडर सेंसिटाइजेशन, मैं देखती हूँ कि जेंडर सेंसिटाइजेशन की मैं महाराष्ट्र गवर्नमेंट के TOT में का मैंने प्रोग्राम किया हुआ है, लेकिन जहाँ सिखाने जाएंगे सब लड़कियाँ ही बैठी है। पुरुषों को लाना, उनका माइंडसेट बदलना है हमें, तब तक ये बलात्कार रुकने वाला नहीं है। हाँ। क्योंकि उनके मन से जब तक नहीं जाता है कि ये स्त्री अबला है, उसको भोगना ही है हमें, ये जो माइंडसेट बनाया जाता है वो उसको बदलना चाहिए। और उसके लिए पुरुषों के वर्कशॉप होने चाहिए, उनको सिखाना चाहिए कि ये सब नहीं होना चाहिए। जेंडर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ने स्त्री पुरुष समानता दी है, लेकिन अभी तक देखो कि काम के लिए कोई रोड पे अगर कोई महिला और पुरुष दोनों जाते हैं, दोनों को वेजेस देखो कम कम ज़्यादा है। क्यों? ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए ना, काम तो सेम ही कर रहे हैं। तो ये जो है ना, इसको बदलना चाहिए, और जब तक ये नहीं बदलता है तब तक कुछ होने वाला नहीं है।
बिल्कुल, आपने कहा कि संविधान में, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में प्रोविजंस है,
Constitution-
लेकिन ऑन ग्राउंड रियलिटी अलग है, वास्तविकता, ऑन ग्राउंड की वास्तविकता अलग है, एंड दैट यू शुड bring male police officers also to these workshops. Males should be sensitized, you know, उनको भी संवेदनशील होना चाहिए. It's not only women who should be attending these workshops, because this whole thing of victim blaming, पीड़ितों पर दोषी ठहराना, लाइक कहना कि अच्छा खुला कपड़े पहनी थी, छोटे कपड़े पहनी थी. I mean, this is very common. We see male police officers saying that a lot. We've seen judges in lower courts saying that. We've seen politicians who say things like that directly. What was she wearing? What does it matter what she was wearing? That is not an invitation to rape someone. We're a free country. Yes, you have to be careful. Women have to be careful. But I mean, what do her clothes have to do with you being given an invitation to rape? So that is right, you know. I mean, I want to ask each of you how you feel being a woman in your professions. आप एक महिला पुलिस अधिकारी है, एक पुरुष प्रधान व्यवस्था में, आपको कैसे लगता है? Like being, you know.
कपड़े कौन से पहनने हैं ये तो उसका राइट है। लोग बोलते हैं कि उसने कपड़े छोटे पहने थे इसके लिए बलात्कार हो गया, लेकिन अगर हम लोग एनसीआरबी का ही रिकॉर्ड देखेंगे और विक्टिम्स देखेंगे तो विक्टिम का एज हम लोगों को फ्रॉम 3 months to 75 years
Yeah.
है। तो हमारी विक्टिम 3 months की भी है, 6 month की भी है, 4 साल की भी है और 75 years ओल्ड लेडी भी है। अगर 75, अभी सायन पुलिस स्टेशन में 10-15 साल पहले एक 75 years ओल्ड लेडी के ऊपर 42 years वो लड़का था, उसने बलात्कार किया था। वो लेडी ऐसा काठी लेके चल रही है, तो देखो शरीर उसका साथ नहीं दे रहा है, एज उसकी एज हो गई है, उसका पल्लू है ढल सकता है, तो क्यों उसको क्यों नहीं अपने आँखों पे, कि वो उसको देख के उसको क्यों लगता है कि उसके ऊपर मैं बलात्कार करूँ? तो इसके लिए मैं बोलती हूँ कि 3 महीने की लड़की को अगर माँ कपड़े पहनाएगी तो पहनेगी वो, बराबर ना? तो उसको देखकर अगर उसको लग रहा है नहीं मैं इसको भी बलात्कार करूँ, तो कपड़ा ये मैटर उसमें नहीं है, ये पुरुषी मानसिकता को बदलना है, तब तक बलात्कार रुकेंगे नहीं। ये मेरी खुद की सोच है।
खुद की सोच है। What do you feel, ma'am?
मेंटल हेल्थ जो है ना, आजकल बहुत प्रिवेलेंस ऑफ मेंटल इलनेस इज़ देयर। बहुत सारे आजकल हम छोटे बच्चे भी स्कूल में जाने वाले देखते हैं ना, तो दे आर अंडर स्ट्रेस, कुछ ना कुछ स्ट्रेस है। एडोलेसेंट एज ग्रुप में जो उनको शिक्षा मिलनी चाहिए, व्हाट एजुकेशन दे शुड गो थ्रू, दैट दे आर नॉट गेटिंग इट। On the contrary, they are exposed to very different kind of world of cyber, then internet is available all the time, pornography, all those kind of porns, everything is available on social media,
Yeah.
which they don't understand really. But then they are getting attracted or addicted to something very different things. During the adolescent age period, they should be taught very properly about how to handle the adolescent age group.
Yeah.
What are the changes happening in their body because of hormonal changes or because of physical changes, what are happening, and then they should be taught about how to resolve the conflicts, how to behave responsibly in the community. Even if they are indulged into sexual activity, how to be a responsible person into that. Because lot of adolescents are there into now sexual activity, they are sexually active. One cannot stop that, but at least we should be able to tell them what is right and what is wrong.
No, absolutely.
Just
Educating.
having you were mentioning about Chief Justice Ramanna, he has mentioned somewhere ki only law definitely will not help any doctor. We need to have some responsible behavior in the community, and now all the doctors, they are wanting ki we should have a uniform central law, that is Central Protection Act.
Okay.
We are all doctors, we are fighting for that. Most of the associations, IMA, Indian Medical Association, they are also fighting for that. and actually that bill was tabled. But there were some suggestions and objections were asked, but then what happened, I don't know. Now nobody is talking about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I just, there are two, three important points I want to talk, and then I'll get a concluding remark. One is, this porn and sexual material, obscene material. Divya, can you tell us about any of the provisions in POCSO with regards to this? And I would like to ask personally if you, as a young lawyer, feel, does your generation feel that there is a correlation between such material, easy access to this kind of porn, and sexual assault?
So pornography, there are protections under the BNS, there's protections under POCSO, there's protection against the IT Act, there's the Indecent Representation of Women Act. There are multiple provisions for repeat offenders. There are provisions. There are specific provisions for what we in common parlance call kiddie porn, but that's where children are exploited for creating porn, etc. Now all of this is there. The rules are in place, and I'm just going to try and tie this in with what they've said earlier, that if we have the rules and if we have the action, we have the fast track code, the Justice Verma committee report, everything is in place. What is still going wrong? Where have we as a country, in our culture, the disrobing of Draupadi is what created the war, and where are we sitting today? So, every student of law, I think in the second year of law, something is where you learn about the jurisprudence of punishments. And there are 4 theories of punishment. The first one is the deterrent theory, where you give a punishment so strong that somebody is deterred from committing the act. We've done that with the death penalty. It's not working. The second is the retributive theory, the eye for an eye. We see that in countries like Saudi Arabia. We're not a country like that. And in things like rape, how do you do retribution? Where does it happen? So again, that's out. The third theory is the reformative theory, but this works in smaller crimes, in juveniles, when you try and bring them back into the society. We do not have, I think, the infrastructure, the time, the energy, the analysts, the psychologists to sit and try and bring somebody who's committed such a heinous crime back. So that is out. The last theory then remains, which is the preventive theory. Prevent the crime from happening. And to prevent such a thing from happening, I think it starts with rape culture. And what is rape culture? Rape culture is not about rape itself. There is a pyramid, and at the apex of that is rape. At the very lowest level is what I call the normalization level, where you have sexist jokes in family groups, you have misogyny, you know someone's being taken advantage of at their workplace. You let that go. Or she thinks she's too smart. Or why is she being hysterical? Hysteria is actually the uterus of a woman. So calling someone hysterical is to make fun of them for being a woman. So there's that normalization level. Then there's the degradation level, the catcalling, the leering, the voyeurism. Then post that, if we go to a higher level, and that is taking away autonomy, where there's groping, touching, stalking, and then that leads to violence, which is rape. We've normalized everything all the way on to the top, and then we wonder why we've reached there. It's not just about porn, it's about violent porn. Yes. It's about things in mainstream media, movies in mainstream media, where we see that women are being subjected to violence, but we say, okay, there's freedom of expression, and that's all right, and they should be allowed to see that. But what about children, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, if you see that, this is how a man can show his power, right, and this is okay, and everyone's going to sing a song about it, and that's going to become a meme and go all over Instagram. You're normalizing this. Yes. The problem is here. The problem is not when the rape happens. The problem is when was the rapist created? And how do we address that? The rapist is not created when the rape happens. The rapist was created a long time ago. He's just caught now. Absolutely. I think that's what we need.
Absolutely. So we're normalizing behavior, across the scale, and this behavior starting at a very young age. And even mainstream movies, not just porn, even mainstream movies are showing that kind of violence. There was a big debate about the movie Animal, and I haven't seen it, but there was this huge debate. So, ma'am, any views on that?
Safe environment is a responsibility of everybody, and more the mothers of the male child. Yes. So male child, and the mother should tell the male child that we are a patriarchal society. If the male is born, they feel very happy. If the girl is born, they are very unhappy. So when discrimination begins from womb itself, so women are आदमी तो आदमी होता है और तो पुरुष है. He is a man. He is bound to do like that. These kind of myths and this kind of false, what should I say, images and sort of a thing. So long if you don't change it, this will happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The mother of the male child
Yes.
also has to
Yes.
take responsibility. One quickly, Divya, I wanted to ask you. You travel by Mumbai local train quite often. What is your experience? I mean, but you must be in the ladies' compartment. Have you ever been in a situation where you've in the station or felt violated or felt unsafe?
Of course, multiple times. In fact, I feel the safest after 12 in the night. Strangely, because after 12 in the night, there's usually just me and a police officer in the compartment, and I feel like I have my personal bodyguard. So I'm the happiest at that time. But it's usually, it's strange because people will try taking advantage in the funniest of ways. I've had rickshaw drivers who've, tried to be smart and go down some random alleyway. And it's so many times at stations, at crowded stations, in broad daylight. You're going up and down the stations and somebody will bump into you, grope you and say, "Haath lag gaya, bheed tha." This happens everywhere. We're so used to it. We wear our bags and protect ourselves in a particular way. You put your elbows out and you walk in a particular fashion, but this happens. But the trains, honestly, I feel are very safe, especially with the rules that there has to be a cop in the ladies' coach at after a certain time in the night. And I think that makes it very safe. There are even policemen at stations. The RPF is there, so I think it's extremely safe. The trains, for me, are the most safe. The stations, I don't think so, but the trains, yes.
Well, that's good. We need that kind of protection. Of course, last point I want to get to before concluding remark is the politicization of protests that happen, in the aftermath. And it's terrible because what happens is often if rape happens in one particular state, or you'll find that ruling party of that state will mostly be quiet. I mean, not everyone. Just ironically, the day of recording this episode, Mamata Banerjee is actually tabling a bill in the state legislature about quick justice for rape crimes, for crimes against women, and death penalty within 10 days. So then obviously this is some sort of great knee-jerk reaction she's taken, because 5 years ago actually in Kolkata, in West Bengal, they had promised greater security for doctors. They had actually assured them, but that never happened. And now look at this, 5 years later, this horrible crime happened. Now there are these knee-jerk reactions. But by and large, we see that when it happens in a state, let's say we have very powerful women politicians, or let's take the example of a powerful person from the TMC like Mahua Moitra, who's usually very vocal. I don't think she's been very vocal in this case. When the wrestlers' protests happened, we didn't find powerful women in the BJP like Smriti Irani really raising. They said nothing about the protests. Right, so we find that this politicization always happens. Now people are saying, now the TMC is saying that the BJP is leading the protest. They're more interested in making Mamata Banerjee step down rather than actually this whole issue. This is a big problem, ma'am. You are a spokesperson, Nirmala ma'am, of the NCP Sharad Pawar. Have you made strong statements about this current situation? What's your view on this politicization?
I always feel that women who are in politics, they should keep the politics aside.
Yeah.
What is more important is that we are committed to the society. Then we are committed to women. We are committed to women's safety, no matter. And if you come very strongly, even the leaders will get scared of you, and they will, if you are only for power, sitting, if I say something, I will lose my power, then you are not worthy of, holding that power. So therefore, those who are for power and they want to safeguard their own interests, they keep quiet. Then they should resign from their post.
Yeah.
When Congress was in power and this one, so I have come out with so many things have happened. Even Nirbhaya happened when Congress was in power.
Yeah.
But still we went and supported because it's a duty.
Yeah.
Such a horrible offense has happened. Where is the question of politics?
Right.
No question of politics at all.
Do you feel that the Chief Minister in such cases should resign?
See, I cannot say that Mamata Banerjee should resign or here Shinde should resign and all that, because I am away from politics. What I feel that stringent punishment should be given to the victim. There should be thorough investigation. There should be this one, and whatever the strictest punishment is there, that offender should be dealt with.
Yeah. Okay. Right. No, absolutely. And politicizing it is just taking away from the main
Yeah,
issue.
that
It's
becomes
not
only
helping.
because of elections and all that.
Well, it just happens here. I mean, ACP madam,
Unfortunately,
even with the police force, you know, I mean, राज्य की राजनीति का दबाव होता है पुलिस पे. I mean, how do we ensure like that the police remains independent? क्योंकि ये फिर उचित जांच नहीं हो सकती है. हमेशा राजनीति का दबाव होता है. I mean, what do you feel about that?
इन्वेस्टिगेशन में राजनीति का दबाव नहीं होता है. पुलिस इंडिपेंडेंट है. जो भी केस हमारे पास रजिस्टर होती है उसको हम बीइंग अ पुलिस ऑफिसर उसको इन्वेस्टिगेट करते हैं. कोई भी पॉलिटिकल प्रेशर किसी भी केस में आज तक मेरे 32 इयर्स में मुझे कोई पॉलिटिकल प्रेशर नहीं आया है और उस दबाव को मैं कभी आज तक दब भी गई नहीं हूँ.
Dabbi gayi, okay. That's good. Well, I'm happy to hear that, because commonly people are of the view that in any state the police will be under the control of the home ministry, you know, of the government of that state. So there's bound to be, like we have seen in Kolkata that the principal, now he's been arrested by the CBI, but we saw that there were a lot of efforts to shield him. You know, there were a lot of efforts to shield him because he was clearly a powerful man. So we do see these things, but I'm glad, madam, that you are saying that you have never felt that, you know, rajniti ka dabav, and that you have resisted it. That is hopeful. That gives me hope. You know, talking about specifically BMC hospitals, there are upgradations being made. I know you are a retired health officer, but of course you must be knowing what is going on. They say that earlier on, especially the peripheral hospitals of the BMC, the Brihan Mumbai Corporation, that there's hardly any security, and they take their security personnel from the Maharashtra Security Service Commission. You know, they are trained by the police, and there was only about 400 odd security personnel. Now they're saying by the end of December there should be about 2500, you know, security staff stay. Do you think that that's a good move? Are you hopeful this will happen?
Yes, of course, it's a good move, and whatever has been announced is actually a welcome step. And I'm seeing कि lot of peripheral hospitals, general hospitals, they are getting upgraded. Good buildings, infrastructure wise, and even the security, CCTVs, better equipments with the security personnel. All these things are happening, but it is not up to what we are looking at. Ideal situation still is not there, still long way to go. But yes, good things are happening.
Okay.
And yeah, another thing I just wanted to tell you about, we are talking about especially violence at the workplace, but especially women, gender based violence. And into that, being a healthcare provider, I also would like to give some recommendations, like there should be I mean, when there is a survivor, we need to handle that case. We need to take that case to a logical end. It is not that survivor has come, he has made a complaint, immediately FIR has been lodged, but proper evidences are not collected and proper case is not built up, then again conviction will not be there. So as far as health point of view, I mean, there should be some kind of a curriculum added into the undergraduate students. Now they should be knowing what is gender based violence, and at least they should be studying about that, what are the signs and symptoms of gender based violence, how to identify that, and how to sensitively work on that. Looking at the survivors into center, keeping that survivor at the center, and in a sensitive way how to handle that. All the medical students, they need to be taught about that. Plus the SOPs, again, whenever you are handling a survivor, medical examination is being done, or even the police department, they ask for something. So all the police department people as well as the people who are handling the cases, they should be knowing proper SOPs laid down by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. age-old SOPs were there, age-old guidelines were there, like two-finger test or something else. Now it is absolute thing. So whatever new guidelines are coming up, that one should know to handle the case properly. And very important, another thing is that better implementation of this POSH.
Posh. Yes, I was going to
Yeah,
ask you about that.
all kind of awareness amongst the stakeholders, all the staff into the hospitals, into the institutionals, educational institutions. This is very, very, very important because many they don't know what is POSH and what are the provisions under that. So we should create such an environment that more and more women should come forward and make it accessible to the internal complaint committee, what is there in each and every institute. That is again very, very important because as we are seeing all those remedies, this is also very important to give justice to the survivor as well as to handle the case to the perfect.
Ma'am, you were the chairman of the POSH committee. I mean, do you find that the functioning was all right? Was it efficient? Did people take note of the complaints?
Yes, I mean, I was fortunate to lead that committee, and being Mumbai being a metro city, and we are catering to more than 1.3 CR population, we have lot of institutions which fall under the Mumbai corporation. We have many medical colleges, we have educational department, we have ward offices, we have maternity homes, and we have so many institutions. So we have, and I think Mumbai is one of the first city in country having the policy in place. I don't know exactly what is there in other cities, but Mumbai has a policy also in place. After the Vishaka guidelines, we had a policy in 2004, and even now the after POSH committee, POSH Act came in. After that, revised policy also has been formulated and it is in place. This is I can say proudly that we have a policy also in place. And internal complaint committees are like we have a main committee and then more than 90 local internal committees are there because looking at the vastness of Mumbai Corporation, all the number of employees, service receivers, students, then staff, employees, even extended national places of workplaces, and so many things are there. So, lot of committees are there, and local committees are really they are trained, they are knowing how they are supposed to conduct the inquiries into that, and yes, I feel satisfied that things were in place and then local committees were giving the recommendations and then as per that administration has acted. So that kind of sensitiveness from the general administration is also there.
That's good. I'm
Yes.
glad to hear that.
Yes.
Okay, we've had a wonderful session. If you could have one line from each of you, a concluding remark of, what's the most urgent step or a message to the government or a message to men out there, just a one-line remark starting with Divya from each of you.
I think it's just to, everyone just needs to learn this as a family unit at home. Don't tell your daughters how not to be raped. Teach your sons how not to rape. I think that's it. It starts from there, it ends there.
Nirmala ma'am.
I can say the complaint given by woman victim has to be taken seriously, and the law, machinery, and the government needs to go into swift action. And implementation is very important.
Okay, implementation. एसपी मैडम आखिरी कुछ सुझाव है, कुछ रिमार्क है?
मुझे ये कहना है कि जिस तरह से महिलाओं ने आज हर एक क्षेत्र में अपना अस्तित्व निर्माण किया है, उसी तरह अगर हम लोग सोसाइटी में जब रहते हैं उस बल के साथ हम लोगों को रहना है और सेल्फ डिफेंस से लेकर जो भी कुछ सीखना है और उससे अपनी खुद की सुरक्षा करनी है उसके लिए सबल होना चाहिए.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Gomare.
I feel there should not be or cannot be a seemingly instant solution for any kind of such kind of incidences or the situation. So we really need to have a proper long-term view into this, and we should have a comprehensive proper policy to handle such situations so that women will work in a fearless manner.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much to all of you. It's been a really informative, very good session and some excellent suggestions from all of you. And I hope, the people who are listening in take these suggestions. Thank you for coming on Buzz by the Bay.